Hello, how you doing today? This is a 2012 Mercedes GLK350. All-wheel drive, what they call it, 4MATIC. I'm gonna do front brakes on it. So first thing you need to do is support the vehicle, jack it up, support it, get the tires off, and then you'll need a T30 for this hold down fastener. Take that out. And then for the caliper bolts, there's two of them. You need a 15 millimeter. You need to take them out. And on the back side, it's an E18, I believe. Let's see. I had all this planned out, you know. Yep, it's an E18 inverted Torx, so it's kind of big. So you want to break that loose with a breaker bar, and then you can use your air ratchet, but it's pretty tough all the way out. So first off, we're going to do is we're going to take out the caliper. And don't forget that this has a sensor going inside here. And that just, you kind of like squeeze it together and you pull it out. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, can you see it? The sensor. Okay, you want to get on it right here. It's a needle nose. And you want to grab it. Push it in, just bounce it a little bit. Pulls right out. It's got a little nub. When that nub gets wore down, because it goes into the pad. When this little nub gets wore down, it breaks the contact. And then it sets the light off. And it's just held into that pad with a little spring. And the spring is this little clip that clips over this plastic piece. Right there, okay? And there's a hole in the pad that this piece goes into. All right, take this out of the pad, then you can pull the caliper off, okay? You get your screwdriver up in here and pry the caliper off. Usually they just come right off, otherwise you have to pry it off. This one's coming off. Pretty good, just go like that. Bring it over, flip it over. Okay. Then you can get your C-clamp on here and your pad, and you can push the pistons in properly. Okay. You want to clean the surfaces up with a little bit of brake clean and some wire brush to get some rust off the pistons. That's fine. Okay. Now you got this off. I'm gonna push it more up the side, up to the front, and then you gotta get your E18 socket and put it on your bolts on the back side. Two of them, one here and one here, okay? Break them loose with a breaker bar. Do not use an impact because you'll end up breaking your socket, all right? It's hot in here. Okay, got my caliper on there. I got my old brake pad. I pushed up against the pistons and the back side of the caliper, and I pushed the pistons in. So now we're done with that. Don't have to worry about that. Now here's your caliper bolts, 15 millimeter head. Here's your caliper bracket bolts, E18. Okay, that was a workout. Here's the brake bar ratchet all the way. They were tough. Here's your caliper bracket. So what I need to do is take the pads out of there, take the bundle clips out of there, and clean that surface up. I'll show you how rusty those get. Okay, here's the caliper bracket with the pads and the bundle clips off. See where they sit? They're all rusty. Remember, when things rust, they expand. When they expand against the pads. And you squeeze them and then make them tight. So then they don't want to slide properly, and then you'll get brake problems, and they don't want to release, and you'll wear them out prematurely. Also, you want to clean those up, and you want your slides cleaned up as well. They make sure they turn. If they don't turn, you'll have to heat them up a little bit and see if you can get them out. But if you can't get them out, they have to replace the caliper assembly with the bracket. Don't heat them up too hot because the grease in here will cause this thing to expand inside there, and it will shoot this thing out like a bullet, okay? So be careful. So what you want to do is you want to take them off, clean them out, and put some dialectic grease or some Seal Glide on them. Put them back together, and then you clean these parts up where the pads ride. Clean them up, get them nice and shiny, and then I'll paint them, and then I'll put my abundant clips underneath. So that's what we're gonna do now. And I'll use a die grinder, angle die grinder to get in there. I'll do it sideways to get in here. I'll do it like that. You know? I just want to scratch the surface with it a little bit. I'm not going to remove any metal or anything. I just want to scratch it, okay? And I'll show you when I'm done. See how they are? Okay, and then I'll paint them. And then I'll put some Seal Glide inside of my slide pins. You just want to, just a little coating on it. Don't want a whole bunch. If you put too much inside here, then you won't be able to push the pins in all the way. Okay? And turn them as you push them in so you can get the lube pressed around inside there. And you want to get some lube up around here so it gets under the lubes the boot also. All right. Make sure they turn. And paint is dry, then you can put your abundant clips on. Make sure you put them on the way that they go. Don't want this piece pointing on the inside where the rotor goes. Want them like that, okay? There's 4 of them. It's different than these. That's what we're doing with on there. These are the same ones except they don't have the piece in the middle. Okay, so after we get them on in, and we'll take the rotor off. Take your T30, remove the Torx bolt, and then when you get the bolt removed and the rotor doesn't come off, then you have to hit the rotor with a hammer. 3-pound sledge I use. If you're gonna replace the rotor, then it's okay to hit the surface. Try not to hit the cap. See the hub? I'm not moving any metal, I'm just scratching it and removing the rust, okay? Looks good. So now I'm gonna put a fine film of anti-seize on it to help prevent it from rusting and also prevent it from sticking to it again. So next time when you do a brake job, if you do, you take this rotor off, it's gonna be pretty clean inside there. Okay. Got a fine film of anti-seize around it, which is good. Here's my new rotor. It's got a film of oil on it. Do not use brake clean to clean the rotors. Use soap and water, degreaser, or Windex, because they say brake clean will damage the brake pads, okay? Because of the brake pad material. New style. All right, so now I'm gonna clean this up and then I'm gonna put my rotors on. Okay, rotor's on, and I got my little screw back in there that helps hold the rotor in place. So when I put the rim on, I can go straight into the lug holes. If you didn't have it in there, had that in there, and then you'd be fighting it trying to find out where the lug holes are at. And some cars are that way. So that's good. So now we can put our pads on our caliper bracket, and then we'll put the bracket inside there. This is the inner pad that holds the sensor. This is the outer pad. It doesn't hold the sensor. So you want to push them in there, and you want to make sure you can push these down to allow you to install your pads. Okay, there they are. Round part out, okay? They're not going to go in otherwise. Make sure these go in easy. And here's your sensor hole. Remember I said there's a hole? The sensor goes in. Goes in there just like that. Hopefully there. No, ain't going in there. Goes in there like this. Yeah. not. Pushes in. Okay, stick it like that. Because it's gotta go through the hole in the caliper. All right, I'm gonna mount it. Got my caliper bracket bolts in with the E18s. Torqued them to 70 foot-pounds. Should double check them with the manufacturer, see what your torque is. Don't rely on me. Just giving you a ballpark. Now I'm gonna pull out the sensor out of the old caliper. They're just pushed in there. And just pull them out. Held in there with little clips. No special way, it goes in this way, that way, it don't matter. Okay, so when you put your caliper on, make sure you fish this wire through up in here, comes out, so you don't pinch it in there, okay? Got your caliper bolts started, snug them up, and then torque them to 25 foot-pounds. If your bracket slide turns as you're trying to tighten it, or loosen it, you have to get a pair of needle nose vice grips in there to hold that slide pin, okay? Keep it from turning. And you want to push your sensor into the connector. Where's my light? Okay. Slide it in there. Can go in 2 different ways. But the notches go up and down, okay? And then make sure the wire doesn't hit the rotor anywhere and cause your light to come on prematurely, okay? So that looks all good. Want to come up in here, you want to snap your wires in too, because they might have came out these little brackets. So you want to push those in. And then that's all set. And then you want to put your tires on. And you want to tighten those up in a star-shaped pattern. And you want to torque those to 90 foot-pounds. And before when you put it in drive, make sure you pump your brake pedal a couple times, make sure it's firm. Don't just get in it, put it in drive or reverse, and then take off, and then you cannot stop. So always pump your pedal after your brake job, before you put it in drive. Okay, good luck.